everyone, I'm all about Sonic the Telltale Gamer, bringing us everything Transformers, Telltale games, and more. It has been about a year since my last Transformers tier list, or just any tier list for that matter, but I think with the final season just less than a week away, I think now would be a better time as any to make one. Also, as I'm recording this, when the time this video will go up, it will be Thanksgiving 2025, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I hope you're all having a great time if you celebrate Thanksgiving. For me, personally, I think it's no surprise, I am very thankful for everything Transformers EarthSpark has given me over the past 3 years, and everyone else of you who are EarthSpark fans just like me. So I thought, why not celebrate EarthSpark coming to an end next week with a tier list covering the other half of Transformers EarthSpark so far, and that is Seasons 2 and 3. Now, if you remember, last year I did a review of tier list covering every episode of EarthSpark Season 1, which I'll be linking to in a little card in the top right corner and in the description of this video below. If you haven't seen that already, or just need a refresher as to what I thought of Season 1. Season 1 of EarthSpark, I still think is the quote-unquote peak EarthSpark in my opinion, but Seasons 2 and 3 definitely have good moments that definitely reach the same highs as Season 1. That I overall, though, still really enjoyed Seasons 2 and 3 despite the production issues that Hasbro and Nickelodeon faced with Seasons 2 and 3. So with that, we are going to go ahead and review every single episode in EarthSpark Seasons 2 and 3, the 18 episodes there are, starting from Season 2, Episode 1, Aftermath, all the way to Season 3, Episodes 7 and 8, Judgment Day, Parts 1 and 2. For this tier list I put together, I went ahead and took the, decided to put both the two-parters in as combined things. So, for example, Witwicky, which is episodes 9 and 10 of Season 2, that's listed as one whole episode here, and then Judgment Day is listed as whole episode as one. Though, when I get to it, I'll give my thoughts on each episode, but overall give it a combined rating based on how I feel about both episodes together, because they are pretty much just one episode split up into two smaller episodes. So, without further ado, let's begin. Let's go ahead and talk about first what my rankings are for each of these tiers in the tier list. On the top, pretty explanatory, self-explanatory, peak 10 out of 10 is, of course, episodes I think are absolutely perfect. Not only truly exemplify what it means to to carry the spirit of EarthSpark in these episodes, but also just is a very fun, good story that is entertaining, has good messages in it, and has pretty much no problems, or if they are, they're very small, ones that I can overlook without any problems whatsoever. After that, we have the really good category. These are pretty much like 9 to 9.5 out of 10s. These are episodes that I find really, really good, but there's just one thing that is holding it back from being a nearly perfect 10 out of 10 episode. Sometimes it may jump down to 8.5 out of 10s, but that's the lowest they'll get. After that, we have the Fun Times category, which these are episodes that I think for the most part are good, fun episodes, but they do have more wrong with them than, let's say, the really good category, or I just enjoyed them less than the really good category. Still, though, these episodes in the Fun Time category are ones I still really liked, and are usually somewhere between a 7 to an 8.5 out of 10. After that, we have the All Rights category. These are episodes where mostly I like these episodes, but they have a lot of more issues with it. These are ones where essentially that, yeah, I like them, but I also realize, hey, yeah, this had a lot of stuff that I had wrong with it. People probably aren't going to like this, but I liked it personally. And again, also feel free to disagree with my list if you think so. Again, these episodes and this tier list is my personal opinions and all that. If you feel like an episode it's like in the peak category belongs in a not very good category, that's totally your prerogative. I won't hold that against you. I'll also be putting a link to this tier list in the description of this video if you want to go ahead and make your own tier list. But anyway, after the alright category, we have the Has Good Moments category. These are like anywhere between like a 6 to like a 4.5 or 5 out of 10. These are ones that overall I don't think were that good, but they did have like a few moments that I really did like about it, so therefore it gets like a pass in my opinion, and I found some bits to enjoy about it. And then at the very bottom is the Not Very Good category. It's self-explanatory. These are episodes that just I found pretty much I did not like at all, or there was so little I enjoyed, but it didn't matter because it couldn't save the episode for me. Very rarely do I put an episode in the Not Very Good category. Most you'll probably see in the Has Good Moments category, if anything, but rarely I'll put one in the Not Very Good category. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and properly begin our tier list. We're going to start it with Season 2, Episode 1, Aftermath. This is our first episode of Seasons 2 and 3, where it picks up 1 year after the events of Season 1, and it starts off pretty big. We start with that big chase of Robbie, Mo, Optimus, and all the Terrans trying to get an Ember Shard away from the Decepticons. We see Breakdown, Skywarp, and Novastorm and Swindle chasing them down the highway outside of Philadelphia, while Robbie and Mo narrate to the audience about like what's happened in the years since, where we get that like, oh, the Decepticons helped us clean up with Wiki for a while and collect the Emberstone shards, but after a while Starscream betrayed us and all that. And then of course we see them fight over the Ember Shard more until Breakdown gets it and accidentally ends up creating Aftermath in the process. Aftermath nearly kills Hashtag after he's born and gets his ult mode, and then Breakdown convinces Aftermath to come with him and join the Decepticons. I think this is a great episode that introduces us to what Aftermath's character is like. Like this guy who's completely obsessed with just causing as much destruction and like craving violence as possible is a great way of showing how Aftermath differs from the other Terrans, and like why a Chaos Terran is so much more different than a regular Terran, in my opinion. I think this episode also does a great job of basically showing off Aftermath as this really, really big threat. But also we get to see how the different Multos and Terrans have grown in the years since Season 1. Like, we get to see more of Robbie and Mo with their new cyber suits. We get to see Robbie step up more as a leader, and then Twitch tries to teach him how to be a better leader. And the final scene with Robbie, Twitch, and Nightshade trying to sneak into Starscream's base and steal all the Ember Shards they have, while Mo, Dot, and everyone else like distract Starscream and other Decepticons. But then Aftermath nearly kills Twitch and Spitfire, and so Robbie's forced to make the big brother decision and have them all retreat with nothing to show for it. I think it's a good way of showing Robbie's character growth. And overall, I think it's a really fun episode. Also, Breakdown and Aftermath's interactions with Breakdown acting as like a father figure Aftermath is hilarious. I think Roger Craig Smith and Flea both do really good jobs as Breakdown and Aftermath in this episode. I just think overall, the what do you call it? The introduction, like, that Robbie and Mo give explaining, like, oh, just Starscream decided to betray us because Decepticons, you know, is a little bit, like, retconny based on how it were. And while I definitely understand, like, Shockwave, Swindle, Hardtop, and the Seekers betraying the Multos, that definitely feels like it. Starscream, though, again, it just doesn't sit right with me with how Starscream so easily betrayed them. At the very least, betrayed Hashtag. Though we do see, like, this justified a little bit towards the end, but even then, though, it doesn't really sit right with me. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and put Aftermath probably, you know, we'll start Aftermath in a really good category for now, because despite the little explanation for why Starscream betrays the Autobots and Terrans, I think it's a pretty fun episode for the most part. After I move on to episode 2, In Ruins. This is the Mo and Thrash centered episode where they discover the Quintesson Executioner inside the giant temple, and we get kind of introduced to the Quintessons, and this comes back later in the season 3 finale. With In Ruins, I like the design of the Quintesson Executioner. I like the idea of Mo and Thrash trying to keep it locked up in the barn so no one else in their family knows about it. It's also great to get another episode focused on Mo and Thrash after the last one that was about them really was all the way back in season 1 with House Rules, which is one of my favorite episodes of EarthSpark, actually. However, there's just a lot of problems I have with this episode that keeps that really hard to ignore. First off, the primary one is that Thrash just acts so cowardly in this episode. Like, he's totally against going into the Quintesson Temple with Mo, and Mo is the one who actually wants to go in. And it just seems like such the opposite of what Mo and Thrash relationship was back in season 1, where Thrash was the one always wanting to get into trouble, and Mo was the more reserved one, not really wanting to go along with it, but just did so anyway because she trusted Thrash. This way, it's the other way around, and it never really fit with Thrash's character. So, and it just makes a lot of Thrash's decisions in the first half of this episode really pointless, or just odd in my opinion. And then I think Alex doesn't really do a lot. Just him doting over Mo the entire episode when he didn't do that at all back in season 1 is really, like, just kind of like odd choice to have Alex dote on Mo now. So because of that, I'm torn between putting it in the fun times or the alrights category. You know what? I think I'm gonna put it in the alright category for now, but we'll come back to it later. I might move it up to fun times. We'll see. After that, though, we move on to Control Alt Delete. This is honestly one of the best episodes of Season 2. This is the one where Hashtag gets her new alt mode, and honestly, is a really, really good episode about, like, just a sense of self-discovery for children. I love the journey Hashtag goes on to trying to find her new alt mode when after Bumblebee tells her about how he and Optimus are getting rid of all the ghost vans and repurposing them for other activities, where Bumblebee wants to turn them into ice cream trucks. Hashtag is all excited about, like, what she wants in her new alt mode. We get introduced to her little AI assistant, Val, who helps her out with a lot of stuff and delivering all the old ghost hard drives to the Wiki Recycle Center. Also, take a shot every time hashtag says Recycle Center in this episode. You'll be wasted by the end of it, I swear. I think Shockwave also is a very fun villain in this episode, with him trying to get Agent Croft's hard drive from hashtag, which has info on Terra Trust, which we find out later at the end of Season 2. Also, I think the best part of this episode, though, is towards the end of it, when after hashtag nearly falls off a cliff, when she crashes through some trees and loses her Wi-Fi dish of her Ghost Fan alt mode, she goes to Dot to get herself cleaned up of all the mud, and then, like, she explains, like, her problems with looking for a alt mode to her mother, and Dot has one of the best lines ever in the entire show, where she says, you can be anything you want to be, but you can't be everything. I think it's such a really, really strong line from Dot. Benny Latham performed her so well in that episode, but also just such a good sense of, like, discovery of identity, or even a, like, gender identity for children. Children who might not realize, like, are struggling to find what their gender identity might be, if they're bi, trans, gay, non-binary, another part of the LGBTQ family, anything like that. It really felt like hashtag just trying to figure out what she wants her identity to be, but she doesn't know how. She wants to be this, she wants to be that, but Dot, like, makes her, like, feel so validated in the fact that, like, no matter what you choose, like, I'll still love you for it. Just know that you can't just be everything you want to be. Think about what really matters to you. That's what you are. And I think that's what hashtag finds out about herself in the end of this episode, when she's running away from Shockwave. She finds that perfect electric hybrid pickup truck, that alt mode that she takes, and is able to defeat Shockwave with her new abilities. A really, really fun episode, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and put it in really, really good category. What stops it from being peak, in my opinion, is just that I feel like some of the writing is a little off, and I wish they made Shockwave more of a genuine threat in this episode. He feels kind of nerfed, in my opinion. Though, to be honest, it's just shy of being peak. I might move it up to peak later on, though. Then we move on to episode 4, the Butterfly Effect. This one, a lot of people have a problem with, because this is the introduction of everyone's least favorite character in EarthSpark, Maestro. Now, to be honest, I don't see the hate for Maestro. Like, the EarthSpark doesn't make him out to be this huge, big, bad villain. He's on, like, the same, like, level as, like, the animated supervillains from, like, Transformers Animated I'm talking about, like Professor Princess and the Headmaster and all that. Maestro to me just seems like, oh, he's this silly little dude who runs an amusement park where he captures Transformers and makes them his attractions, and he, like, gets a lot of curiosities. Like, he got the Ember Shard that Swindle tries to steal from him or buy from him at the start of the episode, but then Maestro doesn't give it to him, which also is a problem. Like, Swindle, you're a Decepticon. What is stopping you from, like, killing Maestro or just, like, taking the shard by force? You're just gonna let him tell you no? That's not the Swindle I know. But then after that, though, I do really like Robbie's interactions with Izzy in this episode. I think it really captures that feeling of, like, a kid's first crush on someone for the first time. I think the way Robbie, like, acts around Izzy is really cute and endearing. It's also hilarious seeing Twitch, Mo, and Thrash all, like, getting, like, stomach aches and getting very stressed out because they're feeling Robbie's crush and the stress he feels, like, trying not to embarrass himself in front of her around them all. And it's really funny. Though I mentioned this in my review, the Butterfly Effect, I think Robbie's facial expressions in this episode are horrible. And I don't mean that, like, I try not to sound bad, but, like, really, it doesn't look like Robbie's, like, in love with Izzy at all. He looks constipated, and it just does not look good at all, and it really brings down the episode a lot, because Sydney Michaela does such a great job as Robbie's episode, but I think as good as her voice acting is as him, her voice work as Robbie just can't save, like, Robbie's facial animations for most of this episode. I think a lot of Maestro's animations are a bit, like, wanky, or janky, I mean. And then, though I do like at the very end of the episode when Robbie and Mo cyber sync with Twitch's Bash the first time they chase after Maestro in Cosmos. We get introduced to EarthSpark Cosmos also, being voiced by Weird Al Yankovic, who I think is hilarious as Cosmos. But, yeah, that's it for, also, Agent Schiller's in this episode, but he doesn't speak at all. So, yeah, that's kind of, like, why it's, like, it's an okay episode, but, like, a lot of problems with it. So, I'm torn between putting it in the all rights category or the has good moments category. I think I'm going to put it in the has good moments category for now, though I might move it up to all rights. Then after that, we move on to episode 5, Togetherness. This one is one of my favorites in season 2 as well. This is the Jawbreaker and Aftermath episode where Jawbreaker feeling alone because, Twitch hashtag, or Twitch Thrash and, Nightshade and Wheeljack abandon him when they're all trying to master cyber syncing with Robbie and Mo. Aftermath stumbles upon Aftermath in the forest looking really weak, so he tries to become friends with Aftermath. They end up accidentally cyber syncing into Jabam, this horrible, like, hybrid monstrosity between the two of them, though it's really cute just seeing a Jawbreaker and Aftermath interact together. I think Flea and Cyrus Arnold do a great job as Aftermath and Jawbreaker's episode. They're such a cute, like, dynamic together. I really enjoy their characters. Even the side story with Robbie, Mo, Twitch, and Thrash learning how to cyber sync with Nightshade and Wheeljack is a fun little B plot to follow. And I think the concept of Jawbreaker and Aftermath fighting off the bunch of Energon mushroom monsters is, like, scary, but also, like, a really cool idea that harkens back to the Bare Necessities episode from season 1, having a cool little callback to that about how the Energon mushroom monsters are created by the same contaminated Energon that created the Energon bear parasites in season 1. However, the problems with this episode arise from, in my opinion, the end of this episode, where turns out Aftermath was just playing Jawbreaker the whole time, that he really didn't care about Jawbreaker at all, at least in this episode. And, like, it really sucks, because it just, like, when Aftermath and Jawbreaker get to the cave finally, with all the cave water, Aftermath gets such a sweet speech to Jawbreaker where he says, oh, like, the Decepticons may be my family, but none of them help me like you did. No, he says, like, the Decepticons are okay, but none of them helped me like you did. And he sounds so genuine to Jawbreaker, though we learn later on in The Imposters that Aftermath was just playing Jawbreaker this whole time just so he can steal all the cave water for himself. It just comes across as so, like, it basically makes the whole episode and the growth that happens between Aftermath and Jawbreaker pointless. I mean, at the same time, though, this is really good character building for Jawbreaker, because then it makes him distrusting the Chaos Terrans, rightfully so, in the next episode, which plays a big part in why I love that episode. But it just ruins Aftermath's character, in my opinion, and I hope that if Aftermath shows up in these final 2 episodes of EarthSpark, he gets to make up properly with Jawbreaker, and there's some sort of resolution between the two of them. So because of that, I'm probably going to put Togetherness in the Fun Times category. Otherwise, it would have gone in the peak or really good category, but I just can't ignore Aftermath basically betraying Jawbreaker, ruining his character, in my opinion. But I like the rest of the episode besides that, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the Fun Times category for that reason. Then, though, we get onto what is probably one of my favorite episodes in Seasons 2 and 3. Probably my favorite episode in Season 2, and that is Episode 6, Spitfire. This is, hence the name, Spitfire's introductory episode, and this is going to be our first peak episode of Seasons 2 and 3. I think Spitfire's introduction is so good. The way that she was created essentially by Twitch accidentally trying to fight Soundwave and Laserbeak for a Ember Shard is really cool. The fact that Spitfire takes after Twitch because she has Spitfire scan one of the other 2.0 drones that Wheeljack created to help Twitch look for Ember Shards is cool. And then I really like the dynamic between Twitch and Spitfire, where Twitch tries to get Spitfire to become part of her family, and she tries to, like, Spitfire tries to impress the other Autobots around her, saying, like, how good she is at everything, and I should be put on this mission instead of Twitch because I can do anything Twitch does, but better. And then we get the amazing obstacle course with all the Terrans racing in alongside Alex. I think Alex is hilarious in this episode, having him nearly come in 3rd place in the race behind Twitch and Spitfire after Spitfire nearly kills him, so Twitch has to throw the race to save Alex. And then the final fight between Twitch and Spitfire is one of the best fights in EarthSpark. I absolutely love Twitch and Spitfire's fight in this episode, and especially the music that plays for it. I think the song's called Bring It On by Crush Effect. They did a great job putting together this song for the fight. That little techno, like, high, heavy beat of the song is so good, and the cinematography again is really good, which of course we should expect no less because this episode was storyboarded by Kevin Molina Ortiz. He did a great job on this, as he did all the other episodes back in Season 1. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, this is probably my favorite episode of Season 2, our first peak episode for sure. But then we move on from what I think is the best episode of EarthSpark Season 2 to what is sadly the worst episode of EarthSpark Season 2, and in my opinion, is the worst episode in EarthSpark ever, and that is Episode 7, The Imposters. This is, I take no pleasure in saying this, the worst episode not only in Season 2, but the entirety of EarthSpark. In this one, this is the one where Twitch and Spitfire swap bodies after the end of Spitfire, where they swap bodies in the energy storm when Spitfire tried to take control of Twitch's body. So Twitch is in Spitfire's body, and Spitfire's in Twitch's. This one has a lot of issues in it between animation errors where, like, Twitch's lips don't match what Catherine Gavari is saying as Spitfire inside Twitch's body. I think it is cool how Zelda Williams plays Twitch in this episode. and how Kevin Gavari plays Spitfire. The fact that they're playing each other, body swapping each other's bodies is really cool. But again, so many characters act so weirdly in this episode, like especially later on in the episode when Spitfire in Twitch's body presumably kills Wheeljack, but then he's just totally fine in the next episode, and in season 3, it's so weird. It's full of so many animation errors and so much like random stuff that just I don't think fits well. It just, like, again, I hate being negative. I don't like saying to people like, oh, this sucks or anything, but it's not a good episode, and I find very little I find redeeming about it. The only thing I can say that's like somewhat good about this episode is the fights in this episode, and because that and the start of the episode where Akamat's chasing after Twitch as Spitfire when she's falling down from the sky, those were storyboarded by Lillian Fiedler, who of course has done a lot of amazing artwork on Transformers. You might recognize her as having created that amazing Transformers Decepticons animation pilot that has like her gender bend versions of Megatron and Starscream. It's such a cool like animation pilot, and I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the cards of this video and a description if you want to check that out as well, because it's a really good animation pilot. She also has her own art shop online where you can go buy a bunch of prints for her, get commissions from her. She's an amazing artist, and I highly recommend you guys checking her artwork out if you get a chance. I really hope she gets to do more stuff in the Transformers franchise at some point, because her work is amazing. Now, thankfully, after The Imposters, we move on to a moderately better episode, and that is episode 8, Dude, Where's My Trailer? This is without a doubt like the most filler of filler episodes ever, but it's such a funny filler episode that I can't help but love it. This is the one where Robbie and Hashtag agree to go ahead and clean Optimus's trailer for a trailer photo shoot that he is going to be going to, but they need more time when the Decepticons start to kidnap Optimus's trailer and start like damaging it, trying to get what's inside of it. So Robbie and Hashtag have to go all over Witwicky to chase down while they have Jawbreaker stay behind to distract Optimus. It's just so funny how they interact with each other in this episode. I love Robbie and Hashtag's interaction, just how frustrated Robbie gets throughout the episode's first aftermath. Then Spindle and Hardtop, then Skywarp and Nova Storm all steal the trailer, and then the end of it's where Mo, Twitch, Nightshade, and Thrash all come in to help Robbie and Hashtag clean up the trailer. Is great. And then it's just a funny episode, but then the ending where Optimus ends up sneezing and ruining the shoot anyway because Hashtag and Robbie use pine-scented paint, because Optimus apparently is allergic to pine scent, brings it down a little bit. So because of that, I'm probably gonna put Dude, Where's My Trailer honestly in the fun times category. I enjoy it a lot more than in Ruins and the Butterfly Effect for sure, so because of that, I think it fits better in the fun times category than the all rights category. Then we come to the end of Season 2 with episodes 9 and 10, Witwicky Parts 1 and 2. These are the episodes that introduce us to the giant Titan Terran, aka the very first Terran created by Quintus Prime to protect the Emberstone, Terratronus, voiced by Claudia Black, who has done a lot of voice work in other animation video games. You might recognize her as the voice of Chloe in the Uncharted series, or as Cheryl in Final Space, one of my favorite cartoons ever. I'm so also unrelated, but if you haven't heard already, Final Space is getting finished as a graphic novel coming out later this year or early next year. I highly recommend pre-ordering it if they're still available, because I'm really excited to see how it ends. But anyway, I think Terratronus as a character is a really cool concept, having her be a Titan sleeping under the town of Witwicky that Hashtag and Mo accidentally uncover while trying to help Mo out with her history project is really cool. We get a lot of interesting stuff in this episode, like lore-wise, learning that all the tunnels that where the Dweller resided back in Season 1, it was because all the Multos and Starscream were running through Terratronus' body, and we see that Croft apparently knew about these tunnel systems back in Season 1. That's why she had the hard drive with all the whole layout of Terratronus' body that Starscream took at the end of Control-Alt-Delete. I think that's a really good plot, even though I will admit episode 9 is very, very slow. Little to no action in it, besides Mo and Hashtag evading all the Dwellers to get to Terratronus. Though it really picks up in the second half, where all the Multos try to lead a full-on assault on Starscream's base to go ahead and steal all of his Ember Shards, but Robbie's forced to surrender all of his Ember Shards when Starscream threatens to kill Alex if he doesn't give them to him. So because of that, Starscream's able to complete the Ember Stone after he kills Spitfire and Admiral in such a brutal fashion. I think it's a little too brutal for a kid's show, but it's such an, like a like crazy, insane moment in EarthSpark that I can't help but love it for that reason. I think just the shot of first Starscream stabbing Aftermath through the chest with the Cyber Slayer, and then Spitfire right away from him trying to like bang on the door, get Mo and Robbie to help her escape, but then Starscream pops up right behind her, throws her to the ground, steps on her chest, and then stabs her to kill her as well. It's such like a dark image, but I really love it for that reason. Then of course, using the Ember Shards that were inside of Aftermath and Spitfire, Starscream completes the Ember Stone, takes control of Terratro's body, and tries to flatten the entire town to create new Cybertron. Though thankfully, Robbie and Mo are able to escape alongside Thrash and Hashtag, and the four of them create a giant dome around Terratros that puts her into a coma and removes the Ember Stone from Starscream's body. Though at the same point, this destroys the Ember Stone. It's honestly despite the problems you may have with Starscream becoming a villain in this episode, I think for a finale, like a mid-season finale, this is really good and shows, like, it's great to have Thrash be, like, and Hashtag be the main characters this episode. That Twitch, Jawbreaker, and Nightshade all get frozen by Starscream with the Cyber Slayer halfway through the episode. So to have Thrash and Hashtag be the ones to help Robbie and Mo defeat Starscream was really cool to see. And I really, like, contrary to what people may say about Starscream, I really like this episode. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the really good category. Again, the only problems I have with it that prevents it from being peak is because Starscream acting out of character, and then part 1 being a bit too slow. But other than that, really good episode. Now we're in Season 3, technically the second half of Season 2, with Episode 1, The Need for Reed, aka the Breakbee Divorce episode. This one, like, I was up in the air between whether this is really good or peak. I might be a bit biased because I'm a big Breakbee fan, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the peak category for now, because this is what I wanted so badly. Just a whole episode focused on Bumblebee and Breakdown, with Bumblebee tagging alongside Mo and Thrash to sneak into the dome to break Breakdown out, while at the same time help Mo and Thrash get a comic book for Robbie that he really wants to read. And granted that this whole time Breakdown was just betraying Bumblebee because Shockwave promised him and the other Decepticons a way off Cybertron, it does hurt, but I absolutely love just how angry Bumblebee is at Breakdown in this episode because of that. Like, he genuinely feels hurt by Breakdown as a result of this, and I like that, like, angst between the two of them. I like it when relationships aren't just perfectly picturesque and clean. I like to see the little dirty blemishes in their relationships like this, and to see Bumblebee and Breakdown have a proper falling out in this episode is crazy. Now, I probably would have put this actually in the really good category if this was going to be the last we've seen of Breakdown, but considering the Season 4 trailer that just came out earlier this week showed, like, a scene where Bumblebee and Breakdown are together again, and then Breakdown is shown with all the other Autobots heading back to Earth, presumably, at the end of Episode 2, I'm so happy to see what gets Breakdown and Bumblebee back together, and I hope, come on, Paramount, this is the last season, the last 2 episodes of EarthSpark. Can I at least get one sort of confession of love from Bumblebee and Breakdown, or at least a kiss between the two of them? I'll even take a cheek kiss or a hug that they share. Please, I need it. But anyway, yeah, this is a really good episode. I absolutely love it. I might be biased as a Breakbee fan, but I don't care. It goes in the peak category. I love this episode. But again, after every good episode, we need a rather bad episode, and that, unfortunately, is Episode 2, Attack of the Drive-In Movie. This is the one where Robbie wants to go on a movie drive-in date with Izzy, and all the rest of his family tries to come in to, like, embarrass him and helps him make sure that the date goes well. At the same time, Hashtag and Nightshade accidentally bring the mole bots in the movie Robbie and Izzy are watching to life, and then halfway through it, Robbie and Izzy get sucked into the movie. It's got some funny bits to it, but overall, though, again, it's a very cringy episode. I do not like a lot of the ways characters act in this episode, but again, it has good points in it. Like, I think some of it is funny and endearing. I like how Frenzy and Laserbeak are just watching the movie through the dome the whole time. So because of that reason, I'm gonna go ahead and put Attack of the Drive-In Movie in the has good moments category. It definitely has, like, a lot of problems, but a few points of it made me laugh and overall enjoy it quite a bit, so I'm gonna put it in there for that reason. Then we move on to Episode 3, The Great Escape. This is the second episode with Fair Maestro in it. This is the one where all the Maltos end up going into an escape room run by Fair Maestro. A lot of people are going to say, oh, this episode sucks because it has Fair Maestro in it. Again, I really don't see the hate with Fair Maestro as a character. Yeah, he's stupid and silly, but, like, he's not this big overarching threat. He's like a stupid villain that you see from maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Now, granted, I think a lot of this episode is stupid because of the fact that, like, oh, is trying to show that Twitch is like the bad guy because she doesn't let any of her siblings do the mini games themselves. But they do, though. They try to do it themselves, and when they struggle or have trouble with it, Twitch either offers suggestions to them to help them out, or she literally helps them out in it. And I just don't like that it paints Twitch out as the bad guy in this episode, because she does nothing wrong. It's the same problem I had with, Classified back in Season 1, the episode where, Twitch and Thrash get, powered up whenever Robbie and Mo get angry. I didn't like that episode because I didn't like the message it sent with, using your anger to your advantage. I just don't like the message this one's sending either, though it has really funny moments, like the way Nightshade sort of takes charge after Twitch gets stuck in the ticket booth machine. I like all the different minigames, especially the be strong enough to be gentle reference that Twitch gives with Jawbreaker when he's doing the little test your might, slam the hammer against the bell challenge. I like those moments. So because of that, though, it's definitely better than the has good moments category, but not as good as Fun Times Really Good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put The Great Escape in the all rights category. Thankfully, though, after that, we get a very good episode, and that is episode 4, No Soldier Left Behind. This, of course, is the introductory episode to Prowl, who I absolutely love EarthSpark Prowl. Eric Bauza does a really good job as him, having him be this sort of, he seems to me like a watered-down version of IEW Prowl, where he definitely is super serious, very factual, matter-of-fact, and all that, but he definitely harbors some inherent racism towards humans, constantly referring to them as, beneath Cybertronians, and believes that, it's beneath him to babysit the Malto humans, while he should be focused more on working with Optimus and the other Autobots. Though, thankfully, Prowl is up to this throughout the course of the rest of the season, and Prowl has some good moments with Megatron in this episode, and the rest of the season as well, that I really like. I think it's just a really good introduction to Prowl, and then having the Decepticons fight him, Optimus, Megatron, and Dot was really cool to see. It just overall was a really fun thing for Prowl, and no notes for it. I think this is another peak episode. I don't think it's as good as the Need for Reader Spitfire, but I really liked it. There's no problems with it. A really good episode in my opinion. And then after that, we get another pretty good episode, just shy of being peak actually, and that is episode 5, Fire and Ice. This is the Hate Plague episode, the one where all the Malto children are hanging out at the Ghost North Pole base, just trying to have a snow day. And then when Twitch goes in to get some, I think she leaves to go leave that marshmallows or something to cook there, she runs out and finds out that all the Autobots are slowly being taken over by the Hate Plague. There is infamously a clip in this episode that has gone viral on Twitter for a few months, one of Alita, when Twitch walks in on Alita and RC fighting each other with the Hate Plague, and then Alita goes to Twitch oh, you Terrans are the reason, we had so many problems on Earth and all that, and then Twitch says, hey, that hurts my feelings, essentially. I've seen so many people dog on this scene because, oh, what is this kiddie show writing where Twitch is oh, that hurts my feelings. What is she, 3? Do you guys not realize that this is pretty much how all the Terrans talked about their feelings throughout the entirety of EarthSpark? If you go back to Season 1, literally in the very first episode, or at least Part 2 of the first episode, I should say, in Secret Legacy Part 2, when Twitch scans her drone almost for the first time, she says, it feels weird, very weird feels. She says, weird feels a few times. And then a lot in, the first 5 episodes of EarthSpark, Twitch and Thrash talk constantly about how they feel in the episodes, that they feel, sad or happy or so much. The Terrans are inherently very emotional beings. They are very in tune with their emotions. So, of course, it makes sense for Twitch to talk about, stuff that hurts her feelings or such. I don't think that's immature or bad writing. That's just how inherently the Terrans are. They're very in tune with their emotions. Okay, just bad rants aside, though, I really do, think that that's getting way too much hate than it deserves. I think it's totally in character for Twitch, and I love the horror movie-esque scenes of Twitch hiding throughout the Autobot base away from Alita, RC, and Bumblebee, and then we get to the end of it where Megatron helps her escape with the 2, nitrogen fuel, truck fuel tanks, but then Megatron gets infected with Hate Plague 2 after getting to a fight with Optimus. And then the only other con I have in this episode really is the end fight that Megatron and Optimus have with each other when they're both under the influence of the Hate Plague. I've seen people complain about, oh, how the animation sucks for this fight. I'll say, unfortunately, yes, I do think the animation in the Megatron Optimus fight is not the best, but I can overlook it because otherwise the rest of this episode is really good like emotion, really good tension, and I love the final conversation that Optimus and Megatron have with each other once they're cured of the hate plague, where they talk about trust and like they need to make sure they truly trust each other to make their partnership work. And then we get the really sweet moment where Optimus tells Megatron that he trusts him with his life, and Megatron says the same thing, and then they sort of shake hands, and then all the Terrans like give little like cute awe faces at them. One of the best moments of the show is a big Megop shipper. I really like this episode, but again, I know there are problems with it, so because of that, I'm going to put Fire and Ice in the really good category. Just shy of being a peak episode in my opinion. But what I can say definitely is a peak episode though, is this penultimate episode of Season 3, which is Episode 6, The Truth Is Out There. This is the one where Robbie, Thrash, and Prowl try to discover the source of the hate plague after they're all cured of it from the previous episode, and that leads them, of course, to finding out the horrible truth that Izzy is a Quintesson shapeshifter, which is absolutely insane. Like, if I wasn't like spoiled on this twist through like a leak that happened with the episode summaries about a few days before Season 3 came out, I would have been floored by the fact that Izzy was a Quintesson shapeshifter. That is so crazy in my opinion, and the revelation it does like destroys Robbie's like whole worldview, where he feels like, oh, like, I can't believe I trusted you around my family and all that. You tried to kill them all. How could you do this to me? Did you even love me, Izzy? Is that even your real name? I love how the Quintesson shapeshifter uses their connection to Robbie and, like, even transforms into Izzy a few times to try and, like, trick Robbie and, like, get him to stand down. There's even the point where the Quintesson shapeshifter would have killed Robbie because they transform back into Izzy and pick up one of Prowl's guns, about to shoot him, but not before they can shoot him, Prowl throws one of his, like, capture devices under the shapeshifter, trapping them, so therefore they're able to get away with it. And I actually really like how Thrash acts in this episode, because he doesn't act cowardly at all in this episode. I actually think he's very Season 1 themed in this episode, and I really like it for that thing. Obviously, probably one of Thrash's best episodes in EarthSpark, in my opinion, and because of that, it's gonna go in the peak category. Now, finally, that brings us to the finale of Seasons 2 and 3 with Episode 7 and 8 of Season 3, Judgment Day Parts 1 and 2. This is the big finale where the Quintesson Judge comes to Earth, threatening to destroy it if Robbie and Mo don't give up their cyber sleeves to it, because they believe, as the original creation of Quintus Prime, they are entitled to the power of the cyber sleeves over them. And then we get the whole first episode. I will admit, the first episode has a few problems with it, because I just hate Robbie's depression hoodie he wears throughout the whole like first half of the episode, trying to like get over his funk of Izzy being a Quintesson shapeshifter, and like he carries the sardines in his pocket the whole time. It just looks so stupid, like where he wears the hoodie over his cyber suit. I think it would have been fine if like Robbie was just wearing the hoodie and like he loses it when he gets the cyber suit on, but no, he wears the hoodie over his cyber suit. It just looks so stupid. Though there are quite a few good parts with this first episode, especially Jawbreaker had hashtag with, I believe Optimus, Prowl, and Bumblebee heading inside Terratrons' body to get the Cyber Slayer, as well as Aftermath and Spitfire's bodies from Starscream. We have the moment where Starscream tries to bargain with the Autobots, saying that he can help them battle the Quintesson Judge, but not before hashtag stabs in the back of the Cyber Slayer, knocking him out. And I thought this would be the last we'd seen of Starscream, but apparently, according to the Season 4 trailer, where we see that Mandroid is taking over his body, we're going to see more of Starscream, and I hope that Starscream gets a proper redemption arc, or at least doesn't like die. The one thing I just don't want Starscream to die in the Season 4 finale. If he goes back to jail, so be it. I would just prefer if Starscream gets a proper redemption in these final 2 episodes of EarthSpark and doesn't die for it in that regards. But overall, yeah, they get Spitfire and Aftermath's bodies back. Then we have the meeting with Robbie and Mo meeting with the Quintesson Judge, who after Twitch and Thrash get in prison, they have to fight all the Quintesson executioners and the Sharkticons as well. That leads us into Episode 2, when Nightshade and Cosmos manage to revive Aftermath Spitfire by putting their bodies in the Chaos Storm with the Cyber Slayer. Prowl nearly dies doing this, but then Megatron saves him and revives him, which leads us to the really sweet moment where Prowl hugs Megatron, finally like accepting him as an Autobot, which I think is really good character building for Prowl. And then we have the final getaway where Robbie, Mo, Twitch, and Thrash tried to escape the Quintesson Judge's ship. They get shot down and Twitch nearly dies in the process, so therefore Robbie has a cyber sync with Thrash and Spitfire. We get the final battle where Mo, Aftermath, hashtag Nightshade, and Jawbreaker all cyber sync with Terratronus to give her this awesome armor to cut the Quintesson Judge's ship in half, killing the Quintesson Judge. It's such like an amazing, beautiful final shot. I think the final fight with all the Maltos and Autobots battling the Quintessons was really cool as well. I don't think it's as strong as the finale as The Last Hope was in Season 1, but it definitely is like a really entertaining finale in my opinion. So because of that, I believe Judgment Day belongs in the very good category. And so there we have it. This is my entire tier list on Transformers EarthSpark Season 2 and 3 episodes. My peak episodes are Spitfire, which is Season 2, Episode 6, and then for Season 3, we have Episode 1, The Need for Reed, Episode 4, No Soldiers Left Behind, and Episode 6, The Truth Is Out There, and then my only episode I didn't like, really, was Episode 7 of Season 2, The Imposters. Other than that, though, Seasons 2 and 3, for its faults, I had a lot of fun with this season, and I'm very excited to see what these final 2 episodes of EarthSpark have with Season 4, and hopefully it will be a very satisfying conclusion to what has been my favorite Transformers show of all time. So thank you all so much for watching my little tier list of Transformers EarthSpark Season 2 and 3 episodes. I hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to let me know what your tier lists are for Season 2 episodes down below. Feel free to share them in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on them anyway. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.